Let this ancient knowledge transform you while you sleep. There is a quiet hunger in every human heart, though most do not name it. It appears late at night when the world is silent and your thoughts wander to what is missing. It arises in the moments of success when, despite applause, your soul whispers, "There must be more." It comes in seasons of failure when you ask, "Why does my life repeat the same patterns?" That hunger is not for wealth, not for recognition, not even for love. It is for wisdom, the kind that goes deeper than surface knowledge, the kind that does not just inform your mind, but transforms your entire being. We live in an age of noise where new information floods us daily, yet clarity is rare. People know more than ever before, but they are not wiser. Their minds are crowded, their spirits restless, their lives caught in endless cycles of chasing and collapsing. They search for something new when what they need has always been ancient. Hidden in the rhythms of nature, preserved in sacred traditions, whispered in the silence of sages, there exists a body of knowledge older than empires, older than religions, older than time itself. And this knowledge, when absorbed deeply, does not just change how you think, it rewires the blueprint of your subconscious. The promise of this journey is simple but profound. If you listen deeply, if you allow these words to bypass the restless surface of your mind and sink into the still waters beneath you, will be changed. Your nights will become training grounds. Your sleep will become transformation. What once sabotaged you unconsciously will begin to align with the truth you were always meant to live. You will rise not only rested, but reprogrammed. The core philosophy of this audiobook is this: you are not broken, you are simply conditioned. Every belief, every fear, every limitation you carry was planted by repetition, by voices of society, by wounds of the past, by stories repeated until they became your truth. But conditioning can be undone. Just as the subconscious was programmed by repetition, so it can be reprogrammed by repetition. Just as noise shaped your limits, wisdom can now shape your freedom. This is not theory. This is not wishful thinking. This is a living invitation. Imagine your subconscious as fertile soil. For years, weeds have been planted there: doubt, fear, distraction, self-sabotage. And those weeds have grown strong. But if you allow ancient wisdom to be planted, if you water it each night with attention, soon those weeds will wither. Roots of truth will spread, and when you wake, the life that blossoms will astonish you. The transformation does not require force. It does not demand you struggle or strive. It asks only that you surrender your restless surface mind and allow your deeper self to listen. In the silence of sleep, when the gates of the subconscious open, these words will flow in like rivers. Night after night, they will carve new pathways until the old is gone and the new has taken its place. So, as you begin this journey, I ask only one thing. Do not listen casually. Do not treat these words as background noise. Welcome them as medicine. Receive them as seeds. Let them in and let them work. For what you are about to encounter is not merely information, it is ancient knowledge, and it has the power to transform you while you sleep. If you are ready, then let us step forward together. Leave behind the noise of yesterday. Open yourself to the wisdom that has waited centuries for you to hear it. And know this: by the time you reach the end, you will not be the same. Chapter 1. The forgotten language of the subconscious mind. There is a hidden realm within you that speaks a language older than words. It is the subconscious, the silent architect of your life. While you are awake, you think you are in control. You make plans, you set goals, you declare intentions. But beneath the surface, it is the subconscious that governs most of your actions, choices, and emotions. It is like the unseen current beneath the waves, pulling the ship no matter how the sails are set. And if the subconscious is not aligned with your conscious desires, you will always feel like you are rowing against the tide. From the time you were a child, your subconscious has been recording. Every voice that spoke into your life, every experience of joy or pain, every repeated message. These became the programs running silently in the background. If you were told you are capable, your subconscious built pathways of confidence. If you were told you are unworthy, it built pathways of limitation. And because the subconscious never argues, never debates, it simply absorbs and accepts it. Now runs these patterns automatically. That is why you repeat behaviors you consciously reject. That is why you return to the same fears even after promising yourself you will change. The conscious mind can make resolutions, but the subconscious decides reality. Why is this knowledge so important? Because once you understand that your subconscious can be rewritten, your entire life opens. You no longer see yourself as a prisoner of the past. You realize you are not trapped by fate, you are simply repeating a script written long ago. And just as any script can be rewritten, so too can your subconscious blueprint. This is the ancient secret hidden in spiritual traditions and healing practices across the world. Transformation begins not with effort, but with alignment. When the conscious and subconscious agree, change becomes effortless. Most people get stuck because they try to fight the subconscious with willpower alone. They set goals but sabotage themselves. They affirm positive words but deep down feel like liars. They force discipline but collapse under stress. Why? Because the subconscious is not changed by force. It is changed by immersion. Just as language is learned not by one lesson, but by constant exposure, the subconscious learns through repetition, rhythm, and image. This is why stories, symbols, chants, and rituals were central in ancient cultures. They knew the subconscious speaks in symbols, not logic. Here is the truth: while you sleep, your subconscious is most open. The surface mind rests, the critical filters relax, and the deeper mind listens. That is why dreams feel so powerful. They bypass logic and speak directly in symbols. This is also why nighttime practices of meditation, chanting, or sacred listening were treasured in ancient times. They knew that what you feed the mind before sleep becomes the seed that grows within. If you fill your nights with noise, fear, or distraction, that seed grows weeds. But if you fill your nights with wisdom, truth, and vision, those seeds grow strength. Let us pause and consider how many people are unknowingly programming themselves every night with poison. They fall asleep scrolling through chaos, listening to gossip, filling their minds with fear from news or shallow entertainment. And then they wonder why they wake with anxiety, why they repeat cycles of self-sabotage, why they feel drained. The subconscious does not rest when you sleep, it receives. And what it receives becomes the architecture of your future. This is why this audiobook is different. It is not meant to simply inform you, it is meant to transform you as you listen. Night after night, as these words flow into the stillness of your sleep, your subconscious will absorb them like soil, drinks rain, and slowly, almost invisibly, the blueprint of your life will shift. You will notice subtle changes at first, a calmer spirit, a clearer focus, a quiet strength. Then the shifts will grow, habits breaking courage, rising purpose clarifying. And one day you will look back and realize you have been transformed not by force, but by listening. Think of a river carving stone. The change does not happen in a single strike, but in constant flow. Night after night, the river flows, and over time, the stone yields. So too with your subconscious. Each night you listen, each word that enters, each symbol that roots the stone of old conditioning softens. And in its place, new pathways form, pathways of power, of wisdom, of peace. But here is the challenge: you must commit. Ancient knowledge only transforms the one who returns to it, again and again. Not casually, not occasionally, but faithfully. You cannot plant a seed and dig it up each day to see if it grows. You must water it daily, trust the process, and let time do its work. So it is with your subconscious. If you truly want transformation, you must immerse yourself night after night until the new knowledge becomes your new nature. Now let me speak to the part of you that is tired, the part that has tried before and failed, the part that doubts anything can truly change. I honor that part because it has carried disappointment for so long, but I also want you to know it is not your fault. You did not fail because you are weak. You failed because you tried to fight the subconscious with surface strength. No one wins that battle. The only way forward is not to fight harder, but to reprogram deeper. And that is what you are beginning now. Imagine yourself as a traveler who has been walking in circles thinking the path ahead is blocked. Suddenly you discover a hidden door. At first it looks ordinary, but when you open it, an entirely new road unfolds, stretching toward the horizon. That is what this chapter is, a hidden door. The knowledge of the subconscious is the key, and your willingness to listen is the hand that turns it. So tonight, when you listen, do not simply hear words. Imagine them as seeds. Imagine your subconscious as soil, rich and ready. See each sentence falling deep within you, taking root, spreading unseen. You may not see the growth tomorrow, you may not feel it next week, but one day fruit will appear, and when it does, you will know that while you slept, ancient knowledge was at work, transforming you silently, powerfully, permanently. If you are listening right now, I invite you to comment below the one truth from this chapter that stirred you most. Share this with someone you know is caught in cycles they cannot break. And subscribe to this channel because together we will continue this journey until the old patterns dissolve and the new self fully emerges. Remember, the subconscious is not your enemy. It is your ally once it learns the language of truth. Chapter 2. The ancient rhythm of repetition and transformation. In every culture, across every age, the wise understood something most people today have forgotten. Repetition is the key to transformation. Modern minds search for quick fixes, instant results, overnight success. They crave the sudden miracle. But the ancients knew better. They watched nature and learned its laws. A seed does not become a tree in a day. A child does not become an elder in a week. Rivers do not carve valleys in a single season. Transformation is not an event, it is a rhythm. And the secret rhythm is repetition. Why is repetition so powerful? Because the subconscious mind learns not by logic but by patterns. It does not argue, it does not question, it does not analyze. It records. Whatever it hears often enough, whatever it sees repeatedly, whatever it experiences again and again, this becomes truth to it. That is why you still carry beliefs planted in childhood. That is why old habits cling to you long after you have outgrown them. The subconscious accepted them through repetition, and repetition made them reality. This is why ancient traditions used chants, mantras, and rituals. They understood that the human being could be reshaped not by force, but by rhythm. A sacred word repeated daily became a living truth. A movement practiced again and again became a path of mastery. A story told across generations became the foundation of identity. The ancients were not naive, they were wise. They did not repeat because they were ignorant, but because they knew repetition reprograms the deepest layers of the mind. In our modern age, repetition still shapes you, only now it often works against you. Think about the phrases you have heard countless times. You are not enough. Life is hard. Money is scarce. Love always hurts. You may not remember when you first heard them, but because you heard them often, they became woven into your subconscious blueprint, and now, without realizing, you live them out as if they were laws of nature. But they are not laws, they are lies repeated until they felt true. The good news is this: the same mechanism that once programmed you can now set you free. Just as weeds grow through repetition, so too does wisdom. Each night you listen, each time you hear these truths, they sink deeper into your subconscious. Slowly at first, then more quickly, the old beliefs begin to crack and new ones take their place. And when the subconscious accepts the new rhythm, your actions, emotions, and results shift automatically. You no longer have to force change, it flows from within. Imagine a drumbeat echoing through the night. At first it seems faint, but as it continues, your body begins to respond. Your heartbeat sinks to it, your steps align with it, your entire being adjusts. That is the power of rhythm. And repetition is rhythm for the mind. At first you may feel no change as you listen, but night after night your inner rhythm begins to shift. Your subconscious syncs with wisdom. And soon, without effort, you find yourself moving differently, thinking differently, living differently. But repetition requires patience. This is why so few experience transformation. They stop too soon. They plant the seed but refuse to water it. They strike the rock once and expect it to break. They chant once and expect enlightenment. When results do not appear instantly, they quit. But the ancients knew persistence with repetition is unstoppable. The river may take centuries, but it always carves the stone. The sun may rise daily, but each dawn shapes the earth. Transformation is inevitable when repetition is honored. Let me tell you a truth that may unsettle you right now. Your life is the sum of what you have repeated most often. The thoughts you rehearse daily, the words you speak habitually, the emotions you indulge again and again. These have created the blueprint you live by. If you want a new life, you must repeat new truths. There is no other way. Inspiration without repetition fades. Motivation without repetition dies. Only repetition reprograms the subconscious so deeply that change becomes permanent. Now here is where ancient wisdom meets modern science. Neuroscience has proven that repetition creates new neural pathways. Each time you repeat a thought or action, it strengthens that pathway like carving a deeper groove. Over time, the brain prefers the path most traveled. What was once difficult becomes natural. What was once forced becomes automatic. This is how habits form, and this is how destinies are shaped. The ancients discovered it through practice, and science now confirms it. Repetition rewires the mind. So I ask you, what will you repeat tonight? What rhythm will you allow to echo in your mind while you sleep? Will you keep repeating fear, worry, distraction, or will you begin repeating wisdom, strength, and truth? The choice is yours, and the choice you make tonight will not just affect this moment, it will shape your future, because the subconscious will take it as instruction and carry it out. Think of it like this. Your subconscious is a faithful servant. It does not question. It does not argue. It simply obeys the orders it receives through repetition. If it hears often enough that you are weak, it ensures you live weakly. If it hears often enough that you are powerful, it ensures you live powerfully. If it hears often enough that life is hard, it prepares obstacles. If it hears often enough that life is abundant, it opens opportunities. The servant does not decide, it only follows. So what will you instruct your servant tonight? This is why I urge you, listen not once but continually. Return night after night. Allow these truths to become the new rhythm of your being. Trust the process even when you feel no immediate change. Transformation is happening beneath the surface, silently, invisibly, but certainly. Just as the seed grows unseen before it breaks the soil, so too your subconscious is shifting even before you notice. Keep watering it. Keep repeating. Keep trusting. Let this sink in deeply. Transformation is not about trying harder. It is about training deeper. And the training ground is repetition. If you can surrender to the rhythm, if you can immerse yourself faithfully, you will be astonished by the fruit it bears. If you are listening right now, write in the comments what truth you want to repeat until it becomes your reality. Share this with someone you know is trapped by negative repetition. And subscribe to this channel so together we can return to the ancient rhythm that transforms lives. Remember, repetition is not boring. It is the drumbeat of destiny. And if you align with it, may life itself will begin to dance with you. Chapter 3. Breaking free from the cycle of inherited beliefs. Every human being is born into a web of stories. Before you could speak, before you could even understand, the voices around you began to weave their threads into your subconscious. Parents, teachers, culture, society, each repeated their truths until they became your truths. Some of those threads are golden: encouragement, love, wisdom, care. But many are heavy chains: fear, doubt, limitation, shame. And because you were young, because your subconscious was open, you accepted it all. You did not choose these beliefs, they chose you. Think back to your earliest memories. Do you remember how fragile your sense of self was? One cruel word could shatter your confidence, while one kind word could lift your spirit for weeks. That is because your subconscious was unguarded, like fertile soil with no walls around it. Whatever was planted grew. A parent's anger might have taught you that you were a burden. A teacher's criticism might have convinced you that you were not smart. A culture obsessed with comparison might have whispered you would never be enough. And now, as an adult, those early seeds still grow inside you. This is the cycle of inherited beliefs. Generations pass down not only wisdom but also wounds. A father who lived in scarcity teaches his child that money is dangerous. A mother who carried unhealed trauma passes down her fears of rejection. A society that has forgotten its spiritual roots tells its children to worship only success, image, and possessions. You inherit not only your family's eyes and hands, but also their subconscious programming. And unless you awaken, you repeat it. Why do so many people live the same patterns as their parents, even when they swore they never would? Why do families repeat cycles of poverty, addiction, broken relationships? It is not because fate is cruel. It is because the subconscious blueprint has not been rewritten. The child grows up with the same hidden instructions as the parent, and so the story continues. History does not just repeat in nations, it repeats in bloodlines. But here is the truth: you are not bound to repeat the cycle. You can break it. You can choose a different inheritance. You can honor where you came from without being imprisoned by it. The chains of belief are strong, but they are not unbreakable. They were formed by repetition, and they can be undone by repetition. They were planted in sleep, and they can be uprooted in sleep. That is why this practice matters so much. Each night you listen, you are not only reprogramming your life, you are breaking patterns that may have lasted generations. Think of it like a river that has flowed in one direction for centuries. The land has been carved, the path set, but slowly, stone by stone, the river can be redirected. And when it shifts, the land transforms with it. That is what you are doing now. You are redirecting the river of inherited belief. You are carving a new path, not just for yourself, but for those who come after you. When you heal your subconscious, you do not just heal your story, you heal your lineage. But let us be honest, breaking free is not easy. The inherited beliefs feel like home, even when they hurt. You may notice resistance inside you. When a new truth enters, a voice may rise and say, "That is not who you are. That voice is not you." It is the echo of old programming trying to survive. Do not fight it with anger. Simply keep listening, keep repeating. With time, the new truth grows stronger and the old voice fades. Consider this: every great spiritual teacher, every wise leader, every healer throughout history had to break free from inherited beliefs. They were born into cultures of limitation, into families of struggle, into systems of control. But something within them refused to accept the cycle. They listened to a deeper truth, an ancient knowledge that whispered freedom, and by aligning with that knowledge, they rose above the patterns of their time. You are capable of the same. The fact that you are listening now proves that your soul is ready. So tonight, as you rest, imagine yourself standing at the edge of two paths. One path is familiar. It is the road your family walked, the road your culture paved, the road of limitation. It feels safe, but it leads nowhere new. The other path is unknown. It is the road of wisdom, freedom, transformation. It feels uncertain, but it leads to life. Which path will you take? Each night you listen, each truth you allow in is a step down the second path. And the farther you go, the less the old road will call to you. Do not underestimate the power of this choice. When you break free, you give permission for others to do the same. When you heal your subconscious, you show your children, your friends, your community, that another way is possible. You become a living example that cycles can end, that wounds can close, that new stories can begin. Your transformation is not selfish, it is sacred. So let the ancient knowledge sink in. Let it untangle the threads of inherited belief. Let it cut the chains that bound your ancestors. Let it rewrite your blueprint so completely that future generations are born into freedom, not fear. You are not just changing your life, you are changing history. If this resonates with you, write in the comments what belief you are ready to release. Share this message with someone trapped in cycles of the past, and subscribe to this channel so we can continue walking this journey together. Remember, you are not a prisoner of your inheritance. You are the author of a new story, and that story begins tonight. Chapter 4. The Silent Architect of Destiny, Your Nightly Blueprint. When night falls and your eyes grow heavy, the world believes you are resting. They see a body still, a mind turned off, a soul drifting. But those who understand the deeper truth know something far more powerful is happening. Sleep is not an absence, it is an awakening. It is the sacred doorway where the conscious mind releases its grip and the subconscious begins its work. And in those hours of stillness, your future is quietly being written. Think of your subconscious as an architect who never sleeps. By day, it observes and records. By night, it designs and builds. The blueprint it follows comes from the patterns you have allowed, the words you have believed, the emotions you have repeated. Every dream, every symbol, every whisper of thought is like a line drawn on the blueprint. And as you sleep, that architect solidifies it into structure. You wake in the morning and live inside the house your subconscious built overnight. Most people do not realize they are living in houses they did not design. They walk through rooms of limitation, sit in chairs of doubt, open doors of fear. They think this is just life, when in truth, it is simply the blueprint they inherited or unconsciously accepted. And because they never question the architect, they repeat the same design again and again. They wonder why nothing changes, yet they continue giving the same instructions every night. But what if you could hand your architect a new design? What if instead of reinforcing the walls of fear, you gave it the lines of freedom? What if instead of building ceilings of limitation, you opened the sky of possibility? This is the ancient knowledge you can. You do not need to destroy your house in one violent act. You need only feed your subconscious new blueprints night after night until the old design fades and the new one stands complete. Imagine it while you rest, while your conscious mind drifts into dreams. Words of wisdom flow into your subconscious. They bypass resistance, they bypass doubt, they bypass logic. They sink straight into the architect's hands, and the architect, faithful as always, begins to build. You do not struggle, you do not force, you do not even need to be aware. You simply wake one morning to find the walls of your old prison replaced by the open air of a new world. This is why your nights matter as much as your days. You can spend all day striving, pushing, willing yourself to change. But if at night your subconscious continues to build the old blueprint, your efforts will crumble by morning. True transformation happens when your nights and days agree. When you spend the day aligning with wisdom and the night reinforcing it, change becomes unstoppable. The architect never rests, so you must become intentional with the designs you feed it. Consider how many lives are wasted because people surrender their nights to chaos. They fall asleep with the television, murmuring fear, with social media echoing comparison, with memories of failure replaying in their minds. And so their architect builds with those materials. Fear becomes walls, comparison becomes mirrors, failure becomes locked doors. And then they wonder why they wake anxious, why they feel stuck, why they cannot escape. The answer is simple: the blueprint they are handing over is broken. But you are here now, and that means you are ready to hand your architect a new design. This audiobook is not mere sound, it is blueprint. Each sentence you hear is a beam of strength. Each truth repeated is a wall of freedom. Each symbol planted is a window of light. And as you listen night after night, the design of your destiny shifts. You may not see it immediately, but brick by brick, line by line, a new structure rises within you. Let us imagine together. Tonight you lie down, your body relaxes, your breathing slows. As the conscious mind drifts away, the subconscious leans forward, ready for instruction. And instead of the usual noise, it hears wisdom. Instead of fear, it hears freedom. Instead of doubt, it hears destiny. Slowly, carefully, faithfully, it begins to sketch the new design. Walls of courage, floors of peace, windows of clarity. A roof that opens to the sky of possibility. Night after night, it builds. And one morning you wake to find yourself walking in a house that feels like home at last. This is not fantasy, it is law. What you repeat at night becomes your reality by day. The ancient teachers understood this and created practices to honor it. They ended their days with prayer, with chant, with silence, with stories of wisdom. They knew that the final words spoken before sleep become the foundation stones of tomorrow. And because they honored this rhythm, their lives carried a depth, a strength, a serenity that modern people have forgotten. You can reclaim it tonight. Do not underestimate how quickly the blueprint can shift. Yes, deep patterns take time, but the subconscious responds immediately to new input. The first night you listen, seeds are planted. The second night, roots begin to form. By the third, new walls are sketched. Each night is progress. Each night is transformation. And the more consistent you are, the stronger and more beautiful your new house becomes. Now let me speak directly to your heart. You are not doomed to live in the house built from old pain. You are not condemned to walk the same halls of fear forever. You are free to choose a new design. And as you listen, as you surrender, as you trust that freedom is already being built within you, one day you will look back and barely recognize the old house because the new one will shine so brightly. So tonight, when you lie down, make a conscious decision. Whisper to yourself, I release the old blueprint. I receive the new design. Let those words be your final gift to your subconscious before you drift away. And then let this wisdom do its work. Do not force. Do not doubt. Simply trust the architect who never sleeps and know that your destiny is being rebuilt in silence. If you are listening now, comment below, I am ready for a new blueprint. Share this message with someone who feels trapped in the house of old beliefs. And subscribe to this channel so we can continue to hand our subconscious the designs of freedom night after night until we are all living in homes of truth, courage, and light. Chapter 5. Planting Seeds of Wisdom in the Garden of Night. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this, a vast field stretching endlessly, the soil dark, rich, and waiting. You stand there with seeds in your hand. Some are seeds of fear, some are seeds of courage, some are seeds of doubt, some are seeds of wisdom. Whatever you choose to plant will grow not overnight, but inevitably. This field is your subconscious mind, and every night as you drift into sleep, you are planting. The only question is, what seeds are you sowing? The ancients understood that the human mind is a garden, and every thought, every word, every image is a seed. Left unattended, weeds of fear and limitation will grow. But with intention, with care, with repetition, you can fill the garden with trees of strength, flowers of joy, and rivers of peace. That is why sacred rituals before sleep were so essential. They were not empty traditions, they were deliberate acts of planting. A whispered prayer was a seed, a repeated mantra was a seed. A vision imagined before drifting into dreams was a seed. and with time, those seeds shaped the destiny of a life. But most people today scatter their seeds carelessly. They fall asleep after hours of distraction, filling their subconscious with chaos. They plant seeds of anxiety by replaying their failures. They plant seeds of scarcity by scrolling through endless comparisons. They plant seeds of hopelessness by feeding on fear, and then they wake up surprised that their days feel heavy, that their steps feel slow, that their lives feel barren. The harvest always reflects the seeds. What you must remember is this: you do not need to uproot every weed at once. The most powerful way to transform your inner garden is simply to plant new seeds consistently. The weeds of fear cannot survive when trees of wisdom begin to rise. The flowers of joy will choke out the thorns of despair. The rivers of peace will wash away the dust of doubt. Do not be obsessed with fighting the old. Focus on planting the new. Every night you listen, every word that enters your subconscious, every truth that takes root, is a seed planted in fertile soil. Picture this tonight as your body rests. Seeds of courage fall deep into the soil. They rest quietly, unseen. Tomorrow you may not notice them, but in a week you feel a subtle shift. You respond to a challenge with calm instead of fear. That is a sprout breaking through the soil. A month later you take a step you once avoided, and your heart feels lighter. That is a tree of courage growing strong. Over time, these trees bear fruit, not only for you but for everyone around you. Your subconscious garden becomes a place of shelter, nourishment, and beauty. The beauty of planting seeds is that you do not need to know how they will grow. The soil knows, the rain knows, the sun knows. Your role is simply to plant faithfully and allow the process. So it is with your subconscious. You do not need to understand every mechanism of the mind. You do not need to control how change unfolds. Your role is to plant wisdom nightly, to water it with repetition, and to trust that your subconscious will do the rest. But there is a danger: impatience. Many plant seeds of wisdom and then demand immediate fruit. When it does not appear, they abandon the practice, dig up the soil, and declare it does not work. But transformation is patient. A mighty tree begins unseen, with roots spreading deep in silence. The night may feel empty, the change invisible, but the roots are growing. And one day, when the roots are strong enough, the tree bursts through the surface. So too with you. Your subconscious is working in silence, planting roots of transformation. Trust the process. Let us take a step deeper. Imagine not only planting seeds for yourself, but for the generations to come. Each belief you nurture, each truth you accept, each seed of wisdom you plant becomes part of your lineage. Just as you inherited subconscious patterns from your ancestors, you are now shaping the inheritance of those who come after you. When you plant seeds of freedom, your children will walk among them. When you plant seeds of abundance, your family will taste their fruit. You are not just planting for yourself, you are cultivating a garden that will outlive you. So, as you listen to these words tonight, ask yourself, what kind of seeds do I want to plant? Do I want to continue sowing fear, doubt, and limitation? Or do I want to fill my inner garden with wisdom, strength, and love? The choice is sacred, and every night you are making it, whether consciously or unconsciously. Tonight you are choosing consciously. You are planting deliberately, and that choice will change everything. Let me give you an image to carry into your sleep. See yourself walking through your subconscious garden. Notice the weeds that have grown: old fears, lingering doubts, heavy limitations. Do not fear them. Acknowledge them. Then turn your attention to the seeds in your hand. Begin to plant one seed of courage, one seed of peace, one seed of clarity, one seed of joy. As you plant, feel the soil receiving them, feel the future being written. And then as you drift into dreams, imagine the rain falling, the roots spreading, the sprouts rising. Let this vision carry you, because while you sleep, your subconscious is tending to the garden faithfully. Remember, This every seed you plant in the silence of night becomes the harvest of your days. The more intentional you are, the more abundant your harvest will be. And the more consistent you are, the more permanent your transformation will become. One day you will wake and realize that the weeds are gone, the garden is flourishing, and your life has become a living testimony of ancient wisdom reborn. If you are listening right now, write in the comments, "I am planting new seeds." Share this message with someone who feels trapped in a barren field. And subscribe to this channel so together we can continue to cultivate the gardens of our subconscious, night after night, until the world itself is blooming with wisdom, peace, and love. Chapter 6. The Power of Images, Painting Freedom in Your Subconscious. Long before human beings learned to write words, they painted images on cave walls. They carved symbols into stone, they wove patterns into cloth. They told their stories with pictures that spoke across generations. Why? Because the subconscious mind speaks the language of images. Words may pass through the conscious mind, but images slip past the gates and root themselves in the depths. This is why dreams are rarely paragraphs of text. They are moving pictures, symbols, landscapes. The subconscious is not a library of words. It is a gallery of images. Think of the images that shaped you. A childhood memory of being laughed at became a picture of shame etched deep in your mind. The sight of parents arguing became a repeating image of insecurity. A picture of success seen on television repeated endlessly became a silent command of comparison. These images live within you long after the moment has passed. You may forget the exact words spoken, but the image remains influencing you silently. This is why transformation through sleep is so powerful. While the conscious mind rests, the subconscious is open to new images, new pictures, new symbols. If you feed it only fear, it will replay fear. If you feed it wisdom, it will paint new visions. Each night is like stepping into an art gallery where you get to decide which pictures hang on the walls of your inner mind. And over time, those pictures become the scenery of your life. The ancients understood this well. That is why they used symbols, sacred geometry, mandalas, icons, and visions. They were not decorating their lives, they were programming their subconscious. They knew that an image repeated often enough carried spiritual power. A circle was not just a shape, it was eternity. A flame was not just fire, it was transformation. A tree was not just wood and leaves, it was life itself rooted and rising. By immersing themselves in these images, they aligned their subconscious with truth. Now let us turn this ancient practice into your nightly ritual. Before you fall asleep, close your eyes and see. See yourself free, walking confidently in a life of abundance. See yourself surrounded by light, your past chains broken, your heart unburdened. See the faces of those you love glowing with peace, because your transformation has set them free as well. Do not merely think it, see it. Let the image be vivid. Let it carry emotion. Let it become so real in your mind that your subconscious accepts it as truth. The subconscious cannot tell the difference between what is vividly imagined and what is physically experienced. That is why athletes rehearse their movements in their mind and improve as if they had trained physically. That is why a nightmare can wake you in sweat, even though nothing touched you. The subconscious responds to images as reality. And so, if you learn to paint freedom in your subconscious, your life will follow. Think of it as redecorating the inner gallery. Perhaps for years your walls have been covered with images of failure, rejection, lack. Each night you add to them by replaying your mistakes. But now you are the artist. You can take down the old paintings. You can hang new ones. Tonight you can place on the wall an image of strength, of clarity, of destiny. And when you wake, that image will continue to shine in the background of your mind, guiding your steps. You may ask, but what if the old images still haunt me? Do not fear them. Old pictures fade when they are replaced with new ones. You do not need to erase them with force. You need only keep painting night after night until the gallery of your subconscious is filled with images of freedom. Over time, the old will lose its power and the new will dominate the room. Let us go deeper. Imagine now an image of yourself as you wish to become. See it clearly. The way you walk, the way you breathe, the peace in your eyes, the strength in your voice. Hold that image not as a fantasy, but as a reality that already exists within you. Each night revisit it. Let it grow clearer, brighter, stronger. The subconscious, faithful as always, will accept it, and soon your actions, habits, and opportunities will align with it. The image becomes the life. This is no mere imagination. It is ancient practice. Shamans entered visions to heal. Prophets dreamed dreams that became nations. Warriors rehearsed battles in their mind before ever stepping onto the field. They knew that what the subconscious sees, it believes, and what it believes, it creates. You have access to the same power. The question is not whether it works. The question is whether you will practice it. Tonight, when you close your eyes, do not let your mind wander aimlessly. Be deliberate. Paint freedom. See abundance. Imagine peace. Let those images carry you into sleep, and trust that your subconscious is hanging them on the walls of your inner gallery. Each night adds another brushstroke, another picture, another masterpiece, and soon your life will look like the art you have been painting in silence. So let us ask, what images will you choose tonight? Will you keep replaying the pictures of the past, or will you paint the visions of your future? Remember, the subconscious does not rest. It is always watching, always recording, always believing. Feed it wisely, show it beauty, give it freedom, and your life will mirror what you allow it to see. If you are listening right now, comment below, "I am painting freedom." Share this with someone whose inner gallery is filled with old pictures of pain, and subscribe to this channel so we can continue painting together night after night, until our subconscious becomes a museum of light, courage, and destiny. Chapter 7. Breaking Chains of the Past Through the Silence of Sleep. There is a weight many people carry into their nights, though they rarely speak of it. It is the chain of the past, the heavy echo of memories that cling to them long after the moment has ended. It comes in the form of shame that whispers, "You are not enough." It comes as regret that murmurs, "You should have done better." It comes as fear rooted in old wounds, repeating, "It will always be this way." These chains are not visible, but they are real. They restrict, they bind, and they shape the choices of a life. When you lie down at night, those chains often rattle the loudest. The world quiets, but the mind begins to speak. Old mistakes replay, old voices return, old fears crawl back into the silence. You may turn from side to side searching for peace, but the chains do not release. And then you wake carrying yesterday into today, dragging the past into the present. This is why people repeat the same patterns again and again. They are not bound by reality. They are bound by memory. But here is the truth. The past exists only as images, words, and emotions stored in the subconscious. It has no power beyond what you grant it. The chains are not made of iron. They are made of thought, and thoughts can be reshaped. Just as the past imprinted itself upon you through repetition, you can overwrite it through repetition. The subconscious does not cling to what is old because it loves it. It clings because it has been programmed, and what is programmed can be rewritten. Sleep is the secret doorway to this rewriting. In the silence of night, the subconscious opens, ready to receive. If you feed it the same memories, the same regrets, the same voices, the chains tighten. But if you feed it wisdom, freedom, and truth, the chains begin to dissolve. It is as if night after night the lock rusts. The links weaken, and one morning you awaken lighter than before. This is not fantasy. This is the law of the subconscious. The ancients knew this well. That is why they practiced rituals of forgiveness before sleep. They did not want to carry the weight of yesterday into tomorrow. They whispered release, they offered gratitude, They surrendered wounds to higher powers. They knew the subconscious remembers what you sleep with, so they chose to sleep with peace instead of pain. They refused to let chains cross the threshold of night, and with time their subconscious was reprogrammed for freedom. Tonight, you can do the same. As you close your eyes, imagine the chains around you. Feel their weight, acknowledge their presence, but do not fear them. Now see a key of light descending into your hand. With every breath, insert that key into the locks. One by one, the chains fall away. The voice of shame fades. The shadow of regret dissolves. The echo of fear grows quiet. In their place, hear a new voice. You are free. Let that image carry you into your dreams, and your subconscious will begin to accept it as truth. Do not worry if the chains return tomorrow night. Transformation is a process. Every time you repeat the practice, the chains grow weaker. Every night you listen, the links corrode further. One day you will lie down and realize the chains are gone, not because you forced them away, but because you faithfully replaced them with freedom. Let us go deeper still. Chains of the past often appear as stories. You tell yourself, I am the one who failed. I am the one who was abandoned. I am the one who was hurt. These stories become identities, and identities are powerful. The subconscious clings to them because it believes they keep you safe. But these stories are not who you are. They are only chapters in a book, and you are the author. You can close the old chapter and begin a new one. You can write, I am the one who rose. I am the one who healed. I am the one who is free. So let tonight be the night you begin rewriting your story. As you drift into sleep, speak freedom to your subconscious. Whisper, I am not my past. I am becoming my future. Repeat it softly until it sinks beneath the surface. The subconscious will hear it, will record, and it will begin to believe. Each night the story strengthens. Each night the chains weaken, until finally your subconscious blueprint reflects not chains but wings. And when you wake, the change will begin to show. A trigger that once made you angry now meets silence. A memory that once made you weep now feels distant. A fear that once stopped you now seems small. These are signs that the subconscious has been rewritten. These are signs that the chains are breaking. And as your days transform, so too will your nights. Sleep will no longer be a battlefield. It will become a sanctuary of freedom. Remember, you do not break chains by force. You break them by replacing the old with the new, night after night, until the subconscious accepts freedom as its truth. And when that happens, you will walk lighter, breathe deeper, live freer. You will realize that the past was never your prison. It was only your teacher, and now its lesson is complete. If you are listening right now, type in the comments, I am free from my past. Share this message with someone who still carries heavy chains into their sleep. And subscribe to this channel so together we can continue to break chains, rewrite stories, and awaken free souls across the world. Chapter 8. Repetition, the ancient key to transformation. There is a hidden law that governs both nature and the human spirit. What is repeated becomes reality. The river does not carve stone in a single strike, but by flowing over it night after night, century after century, until the hardest rock becomes a smooth path. The sun does not bring life with one blaze, but by rising faithfully every morning, its light accumulates into the growth of forests and fields. So it is with your subconscious mind. It is not changed by one single thought, but by repetition, the gentle, steady rhythm that reshapes the unseen until it becomes the seen. Many people grow frustrated because they expect transformation to come instantly. They listen once, they affirm once, they hope once, and when their life does not shift in a single day, they conclude that nothing works. But the subconscious does not respond to sudden explosions. It responds to quiet persistence. It listens to what is repeated most often, what echoes again and again, until the message becomes its programming. Just as a child learns language by hearing words daily, Your subconscious learns wisdom by hearing truth nightly. Think of the negative beliefs that have shaped you. They did not appear in one moment. They were repeated by voices of authority, by society, by your own inner dialogue until they sank deep. You are not good enough. You will never succeed. Life is hard. These phrases, heard or thought thousands of times, became chains. They shaped your choices without you realizing. Now, the same law of repetition can free you. The difference is that you will use it consciously, deliberately, with intention. The ancients understood this law well. That is why they repeated chants, mantras, and prayers. They were not speaking into the air. They were programming their subconscious. They knew that repetition is not mindless. It is powerful. Every word spoken in rhythm was another strike on the rock, another brush of light, another step toward transformation. Even when they did not see results immediately, they trusted the process because they knew the unseen was being reshaped. Tonight, you will practice this same law. As you lie in bed, listen to these words, not once but over and over. Allow them to become the rhythm of your sleep. Let them echo so deeply that even your dreams carry their sound. Do not worry about whether you believe them yet. Belief is the fruit of repetition. The more you hear, the more you accept. The more you accept, the more you live. Imagine your subconscious as a canvas covered with old paint. You do not remove it with one brushstroke. You paint over it layer after layer until the old is hidden and the new shines through. Tonight you are painting freedom, peace, and abundance. One layer may not cover everything, but night after night the canvas transforms. Soon the old picture is gone and the new masterpiece remains. Let us go deeper. Repetition works not only with words, but also with feelings. If you repeat a thought but attach no emotion, it fades quickly. But if you speak it with feeling, with gratitude, with certainty, with joy, it imprints more deeply. That is why ancient rituals combine movement, sound, and emotion. They clapped, they danced, they sang, because they understood that repetition with passion writes truth faster. You too can accelerate transformation by attaching feeling to your nightly affirmations. When you whisper, "I am free," say it with the warmth of freedom already felt. When you declare, "I am abundant," smile as if abundance is already flowing. The subconscious believes what you feel even more than what you say. There will be nights when the old voices fight back. The subconscious may replay fears, doubts, or worries. Do not be discouraged. This is a sign that the old programming is being challenged. Continue the repetition. Continue planting truth. Every night you persist, the old voice grows weaker, the new voice grows stronger. Eventually, the echo of fear will fade and only wisdom will remain. Repetition may sound simple, but simplicity is the mark of ancient wisdom. It does not promise instant miracles, but it guarantees transformation to those who are faithful. Just as a drop of water can hollow out stone, just as seasons turn barren fields into harvest, repetition will transform you. The key is consistency. One night may plant the seed, but many nights will grow the tree. So let tonight be another strike of the river, another rising of the sun, another brushstroke on the canvas. Let repetition carry you where willpower alone could never go. You do not need to strive endlessly. You need only to return nightly faithfully and let the words seep deeper with each cycle of rest. This is the secret the ancients guarded, and now it is yours. If you are listening right now, write in the comments, "I choose repetition." Share this with someone who gives up too soon, who needs to be reminded that persistence is the true path to freedom. And subscribe to this channel so we can continue repeating these truths together night after night until your subconscious blueprint is completely transformed. Chapter 9. The Rhythm of the Night, Aligning with Nature's Cycles. There is a rhythm that has existed since the first dawn. The rising and setting of the sun, the waxing and waning of the moon, the ebb and flow of the tides, all of creation moves in cycles. Nature does not rush, yet everything is accomplished. The seed becomes the tree, the river becomes the valley, the night becomes the morning. This rhythm is not random, it is sacred, and within you the same rhythm exists. Your body, your mind, and your spirit are designed to move in harmony with nature's cycles. But when you resist this rhythm, you feel restless, empty, and misaligned. Most people today have forgotten the rhythm of the night. They fight against sleep, filling their hours with screens and noise, ignoring the body's call to rest. They treat sleep as wasted time, a burden instead of a gift. Yet sleep is not merely the absence of activity. It is the sacred half of the cycle, the place where restoration, renewal, and reprogramming occur. The ancients honored the night as deeply as the day. They knew that the wisdom planted in the darkness blooms in the light. Your subconscious, too, moves in cycles. It does not transform all at once, but through nightly rhythms. Each night is another turning of the wheel, another step deeper into freedom. The repetition of wisdom during sleep is not only powerful because of the words themselves, but because it harmonizes with the natural law of cycles. Just as the moon pulls the tides, the rhythm of your nights pulls transformation from the depths of your soul. Consider this: every morning you wake as if reborn. Your body has healed, your mind has organized memories, your energy has been renewed. But imagine if you use the night consciously, not only for rest, but for rewiring. Imagine aligning with the rhythm of the night by feeding your subconscious wisdom just as your body receives rest. Each night then becomes more than sleep. It becomes sacred transformation. You do not just wake rested, you wake rewoven. The ancients designed their lives around these rhythms. They rose with the sun, they slept with the moon, they aligned their rituals with the stars and the seasons. They knew that when you move with nature, life flows, but when you fight against it, life resists. This wisdom has not disappeared. It waits for you to return, and when you do, you discover that your transformation is not forced, but natural. Like a tree growing without effort, your subconscious shifts with ease when aligned with the rhythm of the night. But here is where many stumble. They seek change only in moments of intensity, ignoring the quiet repetition of cycles. They want breakthroughs without process harvest, without planting dawn, without night. Yet nothing in creation works that way. The river flows daily, not occasionally. The moon waxes and wanes faithfully, not randomly. If you want your subconscious to transform, you must honor the nightly rhythm. You must return again and again, not once, not twice, but until the cycle completes itself. Think of it this way: every night is like a wave. Alone, one wave is small, but wave after wave, the shoreline changes. Rocks are smooth, sand is shifted, cliffs are carved. The subconscious is your shoreline, and each night of wisdom, washing over it, reshapes its form. Do not underestimate a single night, for it is part of the larger rhythm. One wave may not change much, but 10,000 waves create a new coast. One night of wisdom may not transform you instantly, but 1,000 nights will create a new self. To embrace this rhythm, you must see sleep not as escape, but as sacred participation. Before you close your eyes, set an intention. Welcome the night as an ally. Whisper, "As I rest, I am rewired." Feel gratitude for the rhythm itself. Trust that as surely as the sun rises, the seeds you plant tonight will grow. In this way, you step into alignment with the laws of creation, and creation itself begins to assist your transformation. There will be times when the rhythm feels slow, when progress seems hidden. But remember, nature never rushes, and yet all is done. The tree does not force its fruit, it allows the cycle of seasons. So too with you. Transformation comes not through forcing, but through aligning. Trust the rhythm. Keep returning nightly. Know that even when you cannot see it, the tide is reshaping you, the cycle is completing itself. Let us go deeper still. When you honor the rhythm of the night, you are also healing your relationship with time. You stop demanding instant change and begin to trust process. You stop seeing nights as lost hours and begin to see them as sacred workshops where the subconscious builds your future. You stop fighting against what is natural and begin moving with the flow of creation itself. This shift alone brings peace, for resistance is heavy, but alignment is light. So tonight, when you lie down, remember that you are not merely closing your eyes. You are entering into rhythm with the universe. You are stepping into the ancient cycle that has shaped rivers, mountains, forests, and stars. You are allowing that same rhythm to shape your subconscious, and with each night, you are becoming someone new. If you are listening right now, type in the comments, "I trust the rhythm." Share this with someone who feels impatient, who needs to remember that transformation is a cycle, not a single moment. And subscribe to this channel so together we can honor the rhythm of the night until the whole world remembers how to flow again. Chapter 10. The Voice Within, Reclaiming Your Inner Authority. Since childhood, you have been surrounded by voices. Voices of parents shaping your earliest beliefs. Voices of teachers defining what was right or wrong. Voices of society setting standards of beauty, success, and worth. Voices of peers whispering what you must do to belong. These voices were so constant, so persistent, that you began to mistake them for your own. Over time, they slipped past your conscious mind and settled into your subconscious. They became your blueprint, your silent script guiding your actions, even when you believed you were free. This is why so many people wake up years later and realize they are living someone else's life. They chose careers not from passion, but from expectation. They formed relationships not from love, but from fear. They set limits not from truth, but from borrowed beliefs. The inner voice, the authentic self, was drowned out by the chorus of others. And when they try to listen inwardly, all they hear is noise. But here is the wisdom the ancients guarded. The most powerful authority in your life must be your own inner voice. Not the echo of the world, not the repetition of the past, but the quiet truth within you. This voice is never loud, but it is steady. It does not shout, but it does not waver. It is the voice that whispers when you know something is wrong, even if everyone else approves. It is the voice that nudges you toward courage when fear tells you to stay silent. It is the voice that carries peace, even when logic cannot explain why. That voice is your compass, your truth, your connection to the eternal. The tragedy is that most people stop hearing it. Their subconscious becomes too crowded with borrowed authority. They hear their father's disappointment, their teacher's criticism, their culture's demands, their failures replayed as proof. Night after night, these voices echo louder until the true inner voice is silenced. And so they sleep with noise, they wake with confusion, and they live with dissonance. But the night, when used wisely, offers a chance to reclaim your authority. In the silence of sleep, the conscious chatter fades, and the subconscious opens. This is the doorway through which the inner voice can rise again. If you plant wisdom at night, if you listen deeply, the borrowed voices begin to fade. One by one, they lose their power, and slowly you begin to hear again the truth that has always been yours. Imagine tonight, as you close your eyes, the crowd of voices around you. Some shout, "You are not enough." Others declare, "You must do this to be loved." Still others whisper, "Stay small, stay safe, stay silent." Now in the center of this crowd, imagine a single light. From the light comes a voice, not loud, not harsh, but clear. It says only, "You are mine, you are free, you are becoming." As you listen, the other voices grow faint. They try to return, but the inner voice is steady. It does not argue, it does not fight. It simply remains, glowing, guiding. And your subconscious, tired of noise, begins to follow the calm. This practice of reclaiming your inner voice is not about silencing the world forever. The world will always speak. People will always offer opinions, judgments, demands. But when your subconscious is rooted in the authority of your inner voice, the noise loses its power. You may hear it, but it will not direct you. You will know which voice belongs to you and you will follow it. That is freedom. The ancients trusted this voice more than any external rule. Prophets entered silence to hear it. Mystics withdrew from crowds to strengthen it. Warriors stood firm because of it. They knew that external authority shifts with time, but inner authority is eternal. It is the same voice that guided those before you, and it will guide those after you. When you sleep with intention, you are clearing space for it to rise again. But here is a truth you must remember. Reclaiming your voice requires trust. Many people doubt their inner wisdom because it does not align with the expectations they were taught. They fear that if they listen inwardly, they will make mistakes. They will disappoint others. They will walk alone. Yet the greater mistake is to live forever disconnected from yourself. The pain of betraying your own voice is heavier than the pain of disappointing the world. So tonight, as you drift into sleep, whisper to your subconscious, "I reclaim my voice." Repeat it gently until the words sink deep. Imagine your subconscious as a hall filled with echoes. As you whisper, the echoes quiet, and only your true voice remains. Night after night, the practice continues until your subconscious blueprint is not shaped by the noise of others, but by the truth of your soul. And when you wake, the evidence will appear. You will notice yourself saying no where you once said yes. You will choose courage where you once chose fear. You will walk paths that feel authentic even if they surprise others. This is the fruit of inner authority. It does not make you arrogant. It makes you aligned. It makes you whole. Let us go even deeper. When you reclaim your voice, you also invite others to reclaim theirs. People around you see your freedom and something awakens in them. They realize they too have been living by borrowed authority. They too have ignored the whisper within. Your courage becomes their permission. Your truth becomes their mirror. In this way, reclaiming your inner voice is not selfish. It is service. You become a beacon reminding others of what they lost. So tonight, as you rest, choose whose voice you will sleep with. Will it be the echoes of shame, fear, and expectation, or will it be the quiet, steady truth within you? The choice is sacred, and each night you choose your own voice. You are rewriting the story of your subconscious. If you are listening right now, write in the comments, "I reclaim my voice." Share this with someone who is still lost in the noise of the world. And subscribe to this channel so we can awaken a generation that follows its own inner authority night after night until the earth itself is filled with voices of truth. Chapter 11. Surrender, the hidden strength of letting go. There is a paradox that has confused humanity for centuries. We are taught that strength means holding on, fighting harder, never yielding. Yet the ancients knew another truth, that the greatest power often lies in surrender. To surrender is not weakness. It is not defeat. It is not giving up. It is aligning with what is greater than you, allowing life to flow through you instead of trying to control every detail. It is stepping out of the way so that wisdom can work. Many people fall asleep with clenched fists, both literally and spiritually. They replay arguments, worry about tomorrow, regret yesterday. They lie in bed trying to control outcomes with thought tightening their minds as if tension could bring peace. But tension never heals. Control never restores. And so they sleep restless, wake tired, and live trapped in cycles of struggle. The harder they grasp, the less they receive. Surrender is the opposite. It is opening your hands, your heart, your subconscious, and saying, "I allow." It is choosing trust over fear, release over control, softness over tension. And when you surrender, something remarkable happens. Your subconscious becomes receptive. Instead of resisting new wisdom, it welcomes it. Instead of clinging to old pain, it lets it pass. Instead of fighting the natural rhythm, it flows with it. Think of a river. When you try to dam it, to force it, the water builds. Pressure becomes destructive. But when you let it flow, it nourishes valleys, turns wheels, carries boats, gives life. The subconscious is the same. When you fight it with fear and resistance, it resists. When you surrender, it flows with wisdom and transformation. The ancients practiced this through rituals of release, placing burdens into the fire, writing regrets on paper, and letting the wind carry them away, breathing deeply until the body softened. These were not symbolic gestures only. They were ways of training the subconscious to surrender. Tonight, you can practice the same. As you lie down, imagine the weight you have been carrying, worries about tomorrow, pain from yesterday, fears about yourself. See them as stones in your hands. Feel their heaviness. Now in your mind's eye, lift your hands and open them. Let the stones fall into a river of light. Watch them sink and disappear. Feel your body soften. Whisper, "I surrender," and let that be the last thought you carry into sleep. Surrender does not mean passivity. It does not mean you abandon responsibility or stop making choices. It means you stop trying to control what is beyond your control. It means you trust the process, trust the wisdom planted in you, trust the rhythm of transformation. The tree surrenders to the seasons. The tide surrenders to the moon. The seeds surrender to the soil. And in surrender, they all fulfill their destiny. The struggle many face is that surrender feels unsafe. They believe that if they do not hold on tightly, everything will collapse. But look closely. Has control ever truly brought peace? Has clinging ever led to freedom? Or has it only made you more anxious, more restless, more weary? The truth is, control is an illusion. You do not control the rising of the sun, the beating of your heart, the cycles of your breath. Life is already flowing. Surrender is simply choosing to flow with it rather than against it. And here is the hidden beauty. Surrender in sleep is especially powerful. In waking life, your conscious mind always wants to interfere. It asks questions, it resists, it doubts. But in sleep, when you surrender, the conscious mind releases its grip. The subconscious is left open, free to absorb wisdom without resistance. This is why many breakthroughs happen in dreams, why solutions appear after rest, why healing accelerates in the night. Sleep is the natural state of surrender. When you align with it, you awaken stronger, freer, lighter. Imagine now a night where you practice full surrender. You close your eyes and whisper, "I trust." You let go of every thought as if releasing balloons into the sky. You feel your body melting into the bed, your spirit carried by invisible hands. You drift not into chaos, but into peace. And while you sleep, your subconscious rewires itself, free from resistance. You wake in the morning not only rested, but transformed, carrying clarity that no effort could have produced. This is the gift of surrender. Let us go deeper. Surrender also means forgiving. Holding on to resentment is another form of control, the attempt to keep the past alive. But forgiveness is surrender. It is releasing the power of old wounds over your subconscious. Each night you forgive, you are unclenching your fists. You are letting stones fall into the river. And your subconscious, freed from carrying old weights, becomes light enough to embrace wisdom. Surrender is not something you do once. It is a rhythm, a practice, a nightly offering. Some nights you may let go easily. Other nights you may struggle. That is natural. But the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Soon, surrender becomes your way of being. Instead of fighting life, you flow with it. Instead of resisting wisdom, you welcome it. Instead of fearing change, you embrace it. This is ancient knowledge lived out in the most personal way. So tonight, as you listen, I invite you to surrender. Lay down your battles, release your burdens, let go of what you cannot control. Whisper, "I allow, I trust, I surrender." Let those words guide you into sleep. And know this: in surrender, you are not losing, you are receiving. You are not weaker, you are freer. You are not ending, you are beginning. If you are listening right now, type in the comments, "I surrender." Share this with someone who has been holding on too tightly, who needs to hear that release is not defeat but freedom. And subscribe to this channel so we can practice surrender together night after night until the whole world learns to rest in trust. Chapter 12. Imagination, the secret bridge to transformation. Since the dawn of time, human beings have carried a gift that no other creature on earth possesses, in the same way the power of imagination. Long before a city rose, someone imagined it. Long before a ship crossed the ocean, someone pictured it. Long before a person became free, they saw themselves as free. Imagination is not fantasy. It is creation. It is the blueprint of the subconscious made visible before it becomes real. The ancients called it vision, and they guarded this knowledge because they understood what you consistently imagine you eventually become. But here is the tragedy. Most people use imagination against themselves. They imagine failure, and failure follows. They imagine rejection, and rejection becomes familiar. They imagine pain, and pain deepens its roots. They fall asleep every night with nightmares of their own design, repeating fears instead of planting visions. And then they wonder why life keeps repeating old cycles. The subconscious does not argue. It does not ask if your imagination is true or false. It simply absorbs, accepts, and creates according to what you feed it. This is why imagination is the secret bridge to transformation. When you learn to feed your subconscious vision, instead of fear, creation; instead of decay, light; instead of darkness, you cross the bridge into a new reality. Night by night, your subconscious begins to weave the images into your being. It is as if you are planting dreams as seeds in the soil of your mind. And like any seed, they grow in silence, watered by the rhythm of sleep, until one day you awaken to a life shaped by what you once only imagined. Consider this: when you were a child, your imagination was pure. You could become an astronaut, a healer, a dancer, a hero. You played with worlds unseen, and nothing seemed impossible. But as you grew, the voices of the world told you to be realistic. They taught you to fear disappointment more than to embrace possibility. And so many abandoned imagination, trading vision for limitation. Yet the ancient knowledge reminds us that imagination is not childish. It is divine. To imagine is to participate in creation itself. When you sleep, imagination becomes even more powerful. Your conscious mind, with all its doubts and questions, rests. Your subconscious, the seat of creation, opens. If you feed it with deliberate images before you sleep, those visions enter deeply. They bypass the critic, the skeptic, the fearful self. They sink into the fertile soil of the subconscious. Night after night, they grow roots and branches until they shape the reality you wake into. Imagine this tonight before sleep. See yourself not as you are now, but as you are becoming. Picture your body filled with strength, your mind clear, your heart open. See yourself walking confidently, speaking truth, living, aligned with purpose. Do not just think the words, see the images, feel them, hear, this them. Imagine your future self placing a hand on your shoulder, whispering, "We are already here." Keep walking. Carry that image into sleep and let your subconscious blueprint shift around it. Some will say, "But what if my imagination is too big? What if I dream of something impossible?" The ancients would answer, the only impossibility is the one you accept. Imagination is not limited by logic, by resources, by circumstance. It sees beyond the current moment. It reaches into what could be, not just what is. And often the dreams that seem too big are the very ones your soul came here to live. What seems impossible now may simply be a future waiting for you to align. Others fear imagination because they think it will lead to disappointment. But disappointment only comes when you believe the journey is meaningless, unless the destination arrives immediately. The truth is, imagination is already victory. The moment you see yourself differently, you begin to change. The subconscious shifts, your energy shifts, your decisions shift. Life begins to rearrange itself to meet the vision. Imagination is not just about the end, it transforms you in the present. The ancients often entered sleep with deliberate visions. Some would picture the answer to a question. Others would imagine meeting their ancestors or teachers in dreams. Others still would envision healing light filling their body. They treated imagination not as play, but as sacred practice. And they understood that when practiced nightly, imagination became a doorway into a higher life. This is the secret you are reclaiming now. So tonight, do not waste the bridge of imagination. Before sleep, set aside fear and limitation. Close your eyes and see the life you long for. Do not analyze how it will happen. That is the work of the day. At night, your task is only to imagine. Place the image into your subconscious like a seed. Seed in fertile soil. Water it with trust, surrender it to the rhythm of the night, and let it grow in silence. Each night you practice, the bridge strengthens, and your subconscious begins to build the world you envision. Let us go deeper. Imagination also heals trauma. Many carry images of pain, moments of rejection, shame, failure. These pictures replay in the subconscious, reinforcing wounds. But imagination can replace them. If you carry an image of yourself as powerless, imagine yourself rising, speaking, standing tall. If you carry an image of being unloved, imagine arms of light embracing you. If you carry an image of failure, imagine triumph. The subconscious does not know the difference between past and present. It accepts what you give it now. By planting new images, you rewrite your history, and in doing so, you reshape your future. Do not underestimate this. Nations were built on imagination. Revolutions began with vision. Lives were saved because someone imagined another possibility. Your imagination is not trivial. It is sacred power, and when aligned with sleep, it becomes unstoppable. So tonight, as you rest, step onto the bridge. Cross into the life you imagine. Let your subconscious carry the images like seeds into the soil of your being, and when you wake, walk as if it is already becoming true, because it is. If you are listening right now, write in the comments, "I choose to imagine." Share this with someone who has forgotten the power of their own vision, and subscribe to this channel so together we can build a future shaped not by fear, but by imagination. Chapter 13. Silence, the forgotten language of the soul. There is a sound that has been with you since before birth. It is not the voice of others, nor the noise of the world, but the quiet hum of existence itself. Beneath the rush of thought, beneath the echo of memory, beneath the endless commentary of the mind, silence waits. Not empty, not void, but full, overflowing with presence, wisdom, and power. The ancients honored silence as a teacher, a healer, a sacred companion. They understood that silence is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of truth. Yet most of humanity has forgotten silence. We fill every moment with noise, music, conversation, notifications, news, endless chatter. Even in sleep we carry noise, the replay of worries, the hum of screens, the echoes of unresolved thoughts. And so we live disconnected from the language of the soul. We cannot hear the quiet whispers of wisdom because we never stop to listen. But here is the secret: your subconscious loves silence. It thrives in it. In silence, it is not distracted, not overloaded, not pressured. It becomes open, receptive, creative. Silence is the soil where new patterns can grow. It is the mirror where you see yourself clearly. It is the bridge between you and the divine. Think of the forest at dawn. Birds sing, leaves rustle, but beneath it all there is a stillness so deep you can feel it in your bones. That stillness is not passive. It is alive. It holds the memory of centuries, the patience of roots, the wisdom of rivers. That same stillness exists within you. You do not need to escape to mountains to find it. You carry it every night when you surrender to sleep. The question is, will you enter sleep with silence or with noise? When you fall asleep in silence, something profound happens. the subconscious, freed from distraction, begins to reveal its treasures. Memories surface not as burdens, but as lessons. Visions arise not as fantasies, but as guidance. Healing occurs not because you force it, but because you allow it. Silence is the healer you have always carried, but to access it you must dare to turn down the volume of the world. The struggle is that silence feels uncomfortable at first. To those who have lived surrounded by noise, silence feels like emptiness. They fear what they might hear if the noise stops. They fear their own thoughts, their own pain, their own longing. But that fear is a doorway. The very discomfort you feel in silence is the sign that healing is near. If you stay long enough, the discomfort dissolves and you discover peace deeper than you thought possible. Imagine tonight before you sleep, you turn off every device, every screen. You lie in the dark without music, without distraction. At first, the mind races. Thoughts crowd in, noise from the day echoes. But as you breathe, as you soften, the noise begins to fade. Beneath it, you hear something else, the rhythm of your breath, the beating of your heart, the pulse of life itself. And then deeper still, you touch silence. In that silence, you feel safe. In that silence, you feel whole. You drift into sleep carried not by noise, but by peace. The ancients sought silence because they knew it was the doorway to revelation. Prophets entered caves. Mystics sat in stillness for hours. Healers listened to silence before they touched the sick. Warriors found courage in the pause before battle. Silence was not weakness, it was preparation. It was alignment with truth. They passed down this wisdom because they knew the modern world would drown in noise. They knew that to awaken humanity must return to silence. Silence is also the language of the subconscious. When you speak to it with endless words, it grows confused. But when you offer silence, it listens, it receives, it opens. This is why meditation before sleep is so powerful, not because of techniques or rituals, but because it returns you to silence. In that silence, the subconscious is free to reset, rewire, renew. It hears the wisdom that noise always hides. Go deeper still. Silence is not only personal, it is cosmic. The stars move in silence. The earth spins in silence. The universe expands in silence. Creation itself speaks through silence. When you rest in silence, you align with this universal rhythm. You remember that you are part of something vast, eternal, infinite. And in that remembrance, your worries shrink. Your fears dissolve. Your burdens lighten. Silence heals not only the mind, but the soul. So tonight, do not fear silence. Embrace it. Let it be the last companion you meet before sleep. Instead of carrying noise into your dreams, carry stillness. Whisper nothing. Breathe deeply. Rest in the presence of silence and let your subconscious blueprint be rewritten not by noise, but by truth. And when you wake, you will notice the difference. You will rise with clarity instead of confusion. You will walk with calm instead of chaos. You will hear your own inner voice more clearly. This is the gift of silence. It clears the fog so the soul can shine. If you are listening right now, type in the comments, "I choose silence." Share this with someone who has been drowning in noise, who needs to remember that silence is not empty, but full. And subscribe to this channel so together we can return to the forgotten language of the soul, night after night, until silence itself heals the world. Chapter 14. The Reset, Daring to Rewrite Your Standards. There comes a moment in every journey when listening is no longer enough. Knowledge, no matter how ancient, is wasted if it does not move through your hands, your choices, your daily life. This moment is now. You have been feeding your subconscious with truth, with vision, with wisdom while you sleep. But transformation is not only what happens in the dark of night. It is also what happens when you wake and decide to live differently. Tonight is about resetting not just your subconscious blueprint, but your entire standard for life. Think carefully about the standards you live with now. They are not just habits or preferences. They are invisible rules often adopted from others that define what you accept, what you tolerate, what you pursue. Some live with the standard of survival. They aim only to make it through the day. Others live with the standard of mediocrity. They settle for good enough. Others live with borrowed standards, chasing approval, wealth, or recognition that never truly satisfies. And then there are a few who dare to reset. They decide that their standard will be nothing less than alignment with truth, freedom of the soul, the fulfillment of their highest vision. Resetting begins with reflection. You must ask yourself with courage, what have I been tolerating? What have I been allowing into my life that dishonors me? Where have I lowered my standards and betrayed my soul? These are not comfortable questions. They are not meant to be. Discomfort is the sign that you are facing truth. Most people avoid these questions because they fear the answers, but freedom begins with honesty. Without clarity, there can be no reset. Consider this. Every choice you make is a vote for your future. The food you eat, the words you speak, the people you surround yourself with, the thoughts you entertain, these are not small. They are the blueprint your subconscious is following. If you feed it chaos, you will live chaos. If you feed it truth, you will live truth. To reset means to raise the quality of what you feed yourself, physically, mentally, spiritually. It means no longer tolerating poison even in small doses. The ancients practiced this reset through initiation. They would bring seekers to a threshold often symbolized by fire or water and ask them to renounce their old ways. They had to step into a new identity, a higher standard before wisdom could fully enter. Tonight you stand at the same threshold. You cannot carry both your old standards and your new vision. You must choose. You must declare, I reset my life to align with truth. But here is the challenge. Resetting is not a one-time declaration. It is a daily choice. You reset each morning when you rise. You reset each evening when you rest. You reset every time you notice an old pattern and replace it with a new one. Some days you will stumble. Some days you will forget. That is natural. But what matters is that you return to the reset again and again until it becomes your new rhythm. Ask yourself tonight, what standard will I live by now? Do not make it vague. Be precise. Will you live by the standard of love instead of fear, integrity instead of compromise, abundance instead of lack, courage instead of hesitation? Write it, speak it, breathe it. Let your subconscious hear it. The blueprint will obey whatever you consistently declare. This reset also requires courage to let go. You may need to release relationships that drain you, habits that poison you, beliefs that limit you. It will hurt. The old self will resist. But remember this truth. The pain of letting go is always lighter than the weight of holding on. Your new standard cannot rise if you cling to what no longer serves you. Now let us go deeper. Resetting your standards is not only about self-improvement. It is about honoring your sacred purpose. You were not born to drift, to conform, to shrink. You were born to embody something eternal. The world needs people who live with higher standards, not of perfection, but of truth. Every time you raise your standard, you become a mirror for others. You remind them that they too can rise. Resetting is contagious. One life reset can spark 100 others. So tonight, as you prepare for sleep, I challenge you. Do not simply listen, act. Write down 3 areas of your life where you have been tolerating less than you deserve. Declare out loud, no more. I reset my standard here. Then imagine your future self, the one who has lived with these new standards for years. See how they walk, how they love, how they create. Let that image sink deep into your subconscious as you drift into rest. That is the beginning of your reset. And when you wake tomorrow, act differently, even if small, even if uncomfortable. Each action is proof to your subconscious that the reset is real. Each action builds the new blueprint. Each action rewrites your life. This is how transformation moves from night into day, from sleep into waking, from vision into reality. If you are listening right now, type in the comments, "I reset my standards." Share this with someone who has been living too small, too safe, too low. And subscribe to this channel so together we can reset our lives until truth becomes the standard for all. Chapter 15. Rise and embody the transformation. There comes a moment when listening ends and living begins. You have traveled through the wisdom of ancient knowledge. You have fed your subconscious with vision, silence, surrender, imagination, and truth. Night after night, seeds have been planted deep within you, and now you stand at the edge of a new dawn. This is not just another morning. This is your rising. This is the moment when you decide whether all the wisdom remains only words or whether it becomes the living fire of your life. You must feel this urgency in your bones. Too many people consume truth like entertainment, nodding their heads, feeling inspired yet returning to the same cycles. Do not let that be you. Do not let this be just another message that stirs you for a night and fades by morning. Let it cut you, let it break you, let it demand more of you. Transformation is not comfortable, it is not polite, it is not easy. It is a rebirth, and birth always comes with struggle. But beyond the struggle is freedom. You know this now. Your subconscious blueprint shapes your destiny. You cannot live higher than what you believe. You cannot rise beyond the patterns you feed. But here is the miracle. You are no longer bound to the old blueprint. You have rewritten it. You have resword it. You have planted a new code. That means you are free to rise. Free to live not as a slave to the past, but as a creator of the future. Free to embody the truth you once only imagined. Imagine yourself now as a flame. For years, the world tried to cover it, bury it, smother it with fear and doubt, but the flame never died. Tonight, it has been fed, it has grown, and now it is no longer a flicker, it is a fire. This fire is your life, your purpose, your truth. Do not hide it anymore. Do not wait for permission. Do not apologize for burning brightly. Rise and let the fire consume everything false, everything small, everything that does not belong. Rise and live as the flame you were always meant to be. But rising is not only for you. When you embody transformation, you become a mirror for the world. Your courage becomes someone else's courage. Your freedom becomes someone else's hope. Your life becomes a signal in the darkness guiding others home. You are not called to transform for yourself alone. You are called to transform because the world needs you awake, alive, and unafraid. The ancients always ended their initiations with a call to embodiment. They did not want seekers who only carried knowledge in their heads. They demanded living proof. They asked, "Will you walk in truth when the world mocks you? Will you act in courage when fear surrounds you? Will you live aligned even if no one applauds you?" These same questions now stand before you, and your answer cannot be words. It must be your life. So rise. Rise in the morning with clarity. Rise in your choices with courage. Rise in your relationships with love. Rise in your work with integrity. Rise in your dreams with imagination. Rise in your nights with surrender. Rise in silence. Rise in vision. Rise in truth. Every step is an act of embodiment. Every day is a chance to prove that the ancient knowledge has not just touched you, it has transformed you. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Do not wait for someone to guide your every step. You have already been guided. You have already been given the tools. You have already been awakened. The only question left is, will you rise? Feel this truth. Your life is not an accident. You were not born to drift, to survive, to repeat the old cycles. You were born to awaken, to embody, to transform. You were born to live as proof that ancient wisdom still breathes, still speaks, still ignites. You are the continuation of that lineage, the next flame in the eternal fire. So tonight, as you prepare once more to sleep, make a vow. Whisper it aloud so your subconscious hears it. I rise. I embody transformation. I will not return to the old blueprint. I will live awake. Let that vow sink into your being as you drift into the night. And when the sun rises, rise with it not only in body, but in soul. If you are listening right now, write in the comments, I rise. Share this with someone who is ready to break free from the old cycles, someone who needs a call to embodiment. And subscribe to this channel so together we can rise as a generation of awakened souls, proving with our lives that ancient wisdom is not forgotten, it is alive. This is your moment. This is your call. Do not wait. Do not shrink. Rise, and let the world see what it looks like when a human being embodies transformation.